Oh, hello, Manders. How are you? Hey, Sarah. What up, Harry? Hey, Anxious. Hey, baby Sarus. Laddie. Hello. Hello, beautiful people. Guys, as we get in, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and push us out to the FYP. We also have the daily gift goal, which are the roses. So please, knock out the roses. Guys, welcome in and welcome back. Guys, this is Late Nights with Santana. Yes. Late Nights is officially back. I know a lot of people have been saying, Santana, when is Late Nights coming back? Tonight, right now, at this very moment. So guys, as we get in, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me, do all the wonderful things to let the TikTok know that we are in the building. We're going to go ahead and get started here. We have an amazing week with an amazing topic, with an amazing co-host. I am excited. I'm excited. Hey, let's go. Caroline. Dub's in the chat for the Wolf. Starting off strong, guys. Whew. That's how we're doing it tonight. Guys, please do all the wonderful things. Tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and push us out to the FYP. Hey, let's go with the galaxy. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Renee, you guys are going off. You guys are showing out. Let's do it. We're going to go ahead and get started here, but you guys know how we do. Before we do anything, we have to do the right thing.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late Nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go! Late Nights Truth in the Convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams and the Bible.
Hello.
We build bridges.
Hey guys, can we knock out the roses, please? And thank you, please, and thank you.
Real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late Nights with Santana. Yeah. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, it's a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight. We here to connect the dots, yeah. Late Nights with Santana. You already knew. Late Nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, just the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear, but you find us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open, no judgment. Just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah. Late Nights with Santana. You already knew. Late Nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open, no judgment. Just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah. Late Nights with Santana. You already knew. Late Nights with Santana. Late Nights with Santana. You already knew. Late Nights with Santana. Late Nights. Late Nights with Santana. You already knew. Late Nights with Santana. Late Nights.
Guys, welcome in. This is Late Nights with Santana, and I am so excited about what we are doing here tonight. Hell, what we are doing here this week, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. Guys, if this is your first time here on Late Nights with Santana, welcome. Welcome. I saw a couple of people saying that this was their first time, and I understand that you guys may be super used to seeing me debate, right? Seeing me dunking on people. Well, this is different. This is Late Nights. Late Nights is a panel discussion that allows everyone to have a voice, not just one person, not just two people, but every single person to have a voice. So if you are interested in joining the conversation, you do not have to be opposition. You do not have to be someone that is like, oh, I completely disagree. What Late Nights is, we are about conversation. We're about understanding. We are about respectful communication, back and forth dialogue. With that being said, if you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. Go ahead and request up. I'm going to start bringing people in just a moment, and we will get this conversation started. But before I do, I want to introduce two things. First and foremost, it's the topic that we're dealing with this week, a topic that a lot of people may not have actually realized, but I think it's something that's super pertinent. We're going to talk about the way that America works, or shall I say, how America runs. We're going to be looking at a couple of different things. We're going to look at the treatment of the labor class within the United States of America. I think that's super important. We're going to take a look at the societal design of economics. It's a little bit more to that than you know. We're going to be talking about, excuse me, the institutions of disparities. I promise you, I'll explain it. But last but not least, we're going to talk about how do we make sure that our next move is our best move. Now, guys, I know you may be looking and you may be thinking, oh, Santana, you're going to do this by yourself? Is this going to be your topic? Are you running this entire live solo? Well, I mean, no, I'm not. And since I'm not, let me introduce my co-host for this week. My co-host for this week of Late Nights with Santana is the one, the only, the incomparable, the indomitable, the super solid,
the abominable.
Let's go. What up, bro?
What's good, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How we feeling?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me all right? There's a bunch of background noise?
I was about to say, it sounds like you're in the mall.
Hold on.
Guys, as we continue to get ready, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me's. It's only one coin. It will boost the live and push it out to the FYP. Now, guys, if you didn't hear originally when I spoke to Solid about why it's so important that we actually do this live tonight, well, guess what? You're in for a treat. We're going to tell you what we're doing that's more special than normal. Listen, yes, Late Nights is special. It's where our community comes together and we grow together. That's the point of Late Nights. That's the purpose of Late Nights. But this week, we got something more than that. Now, that being said, I'm going to give the floor to Solid. If you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and get in the request. I'm going to start bringing people in. If you're over on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram, guess what? You don't have to leave where you are to join the conversation. You can just actually click that link and we will bring you in. And for anyone that wants a fast pass, cheat code, quicker way to get up here, go over to YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Kick. The line is always shorter over there than it is on TikTok, but I digress. If you're interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. I'm going to start bringing people in just a moment. Solid, G to G.
Yeah, we ready to rock, man.
Floor is yours. How are you?
So I'm well, man. How are you doing?
Good. Solid. Tell the people what we are talking about this week.
Okay, so if you followed me for any amount of time, you've probably heard me say the phrase structural functionalism. Structural functionalism is a sociological paradigm, meaning it's one of the ways that we analyze society. It's one of the ways we take a look at how society works. And I use structural functionalism when I look at historically and in the material conditions today, how America works, right? America has never operated, not one time in its entire history, without a free labor force, a group of people that America is good at making work for free, right? And one of the ways that that's perpetuated is by creating different castes or classes of people. So you have your things, your types of organization like racism, you have your misogyny, you have your ableism, you have your cis normativity, your heteronormativity, your ethnocentrism. These ways of organizing society and putting some people at the top and some people at the bottom are how America functions. It's how the operation happens. So I thought it would be important to kind of talk about that because if you look at it through that lens that America needs to organize itself, it will help you understand everything better. Politics, economics, the media, all of the above.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Solid. So I'm going to start bringing some people in here and we are going to get started. But before I do, if you don't mind, I want you to tell the people why or what we are actually doing this week that is not normal. It's something special. There's something that you're cooking up. And Solid, we may not be all green, but we're green tonight. I don't know if you got that right. I tried to do a thing. But Solid, tell the people about what you're doing, the special thing that we're going to be drawing attention to all this week.
Yeah, I see how you turned it green. So listen, I was about 20 years old when I deployed to Baghdad with the 216th Infantry Battalion. This is a prestigious infantry battalion in the Army. They stormed Normandy. Okay, this is a very important battalion in the Army. All right, they've had movies made about them. They've had books written about them. And as a black soldier, you would think that being among the elite, I would have a I'm sorry.
Got it. You're good.
Okay, I would have a good time.
Yep. I wanted to make sure they were muted. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so during my time in the 216th Infantry Battalion, I experienced a lot of racism, a whole bunch of racism. During my time on this app, I've been able to voice my, experience a lot. And then I looked around and I noticed that there's a bunch of black soldiers from the 216th Infantry Battalion that never got to voice their experience. And so I've started a project. I want to make a mini doc entitled "We're Not All Green," and the project is supposed to center the voices of black soldiers for the 216th Infantry Battalion. And so any help I can get with that, it'd be awesome, man. You'd be donating to a really good project.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. It's not any help that he can get. Guys, we're driving it. That's the bus that we're driving this week. Specifically, as we go throughout this week and we have this conversation, anytime I talk about the pay links, I'm going to be drawing everyone's attention to the GFM, which the link is actually in my bio. It's in Solid's bio. I know Petty is down in the comment section. It's in her bio. All you have to do is if you go to the link tree in my bio, Solid has I made him a special custom picture for the link. So we got it running in the poll, like all this other stuff. All you got to do is click that link and go ahead and donate there. I'm going to be monitoring where we are all week and how much we have raised. We want to make a large dent in it. So I have the current total and I'm going to be talking about how much we've raised so far or every night. So guys, make sure you're drawing special attention to that. Now, with that being said, last but not least, there may be a little... It's always like this on the first nights of late nights. Listen, I want to make sure that people who are in the requests know that this is not a debate. I know it may be extremely hard for some people to switch gears and go from debating or assuming that anytime I'm live, it's a debate. But this is not a debate. This is a panel discussion. This is a respectful panel discussion. We don't do over talking. We don't do profanity. We don't do the unintentional, like just wild, whatever. So if you are interested in joining the conversation, please feel free to come up. But if you think that you're going to come up here just to debate, or troll or whatever the case may be, sorry. This is not it. This is not it. With that being said,
I already have a huge W.
Do it.
Christina for donating 700. Y'all got to calm down. $735 to the GoFundMe, to the GFN.
It's anonymous.
It's anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
It's anonymous. Whoever sent that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Can y'all hold on real quick? I got to. Can you hear that, Santana?
Nope.
Don't none of my pads work? What is happening over here?
I'm not sure.
Let me work out. Let me work out these technical difficulties. But that is a big W. That is a huge W, anonymous.
I know that's right. W's in the chat for anonymous. Let's do all the wonderful things. Now, with that being said, we're going to hit a quick introduction to the people on the panel. And then from that point, we are going to roll into this conversation. If anyone is interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. But even if you're not, I need everyone being active participants. You guys know what that means. Tap in the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Also, keep knocking out the daily gift goal. I'm going to keep resetting them with these little 1-cent gift goals. If we can knock those out a couple of times, it'll boost the live, push us out to the FYP. Share the live maybe once or twice. That helps. We don't want to spam share because spam sharing actually hurts the live. So we don't want to do that. But repost the live. That's like the most important thing that we can do is actually repost the live. And last but not least, like I said, make sure that you are hitting up Solid's GFM. The link is in the link tree in the bio. It's in the polls. It's in his link tree. It's in Petty's. You can find it anywhere. And if you'd like to support the live here on late nights, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Ari. Hey, Ari. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Ari, can you tell the people, what is your current perspective or understanding of how America currently runs today?
I learned from the best, super solid W. So I understand structural functionalism, conflict theory, and especially the misogyny, transphobia, and homophobia that Solid spoke about earlier.
Okay. Perfect. Give me a second. Lobo, how are you?
Oop. I'm good. I don't sound too bad, do I?
No. You're good.
Oh,
perfect.
Cool.
Lobo, can you tell the people what is your current understanding of how America runs today?
I'm gonna be very humble, and I'm gonna say I'm still in the learning phase, the remedial phase, but like kind of very much my eyes are open. I could kind of see kind of like the gist of the system. If someone were to, well, not even someone, because, you know, I have a listening, you know, that way of learning and everything sometimes. Mm-hmm. But more so just like trying to actually sit down and understand the basics of everything before I go ahead and proclaim like, hey, this system is broken. I just don't know exactly how to point out how it's broken because it's obviously busted.
Yeah. No, listen, I definitely understand that. And I think that's a great step as far as ensuring that we understand that there is an actual issue. Jay, for you spamming, can you join? FYI, this is not a debate. This is not a debate. This is not a debate. So if you're planning on trying to debate, then you should probably jump out of the comment section. Jump out of the request. I just want to make sure that you know. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. But before we do, just a quick reminder for the people on the panel. Guys, please remember to use TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like pew pew, unalive, C19, mustache man, all of those types of words that will protect not only your TikTok, but it will protect the live. Also, I want to make sure people know that this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play that on the panel nor in the comment section. In the chat, speaking of the chat, guys, please remember, caps are for mods. Caps are for mods. We do not want to use caps because it'll draw my attention away from the panel and to the chat. And this is a very important conversation. I'm actually really excited about it. So please, please, please do not use caps. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started here. A couple of quick W's. Wait.
Me, my J Hops. Big W's in the chat, a million W's in the chat, 100 million W's in the chat. Me just donated 4 bands, 4,000 smackaroos, 4,000 smackaroos to the project, y'all.
Jeebus.
Holy moly.
G.
A million WJ Hops. What is happening?
I think that just means that the bar's been set. The roof is the ceiling, as Michael Jordan would say. I think that not only do we need to keep those W's going over and 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 over for J-Hops, but I know for a fact that we can do more. We can do better, and we will do more. We will do better. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. W's in the chat. W's in the chat. Keep it moving. All right. We're going to start with Solid. Solid, floor is yours. I love talking about how the labor class is the backbone of America. Now, a lot of people may hear that and think, yep. The blue collar workers, they're what keep the country going. The country can't function without those people. But Solid, talk to the people, because they may be being mistreated while they're keeping the country moving.
So here's the deal. Saying that the labor class is the backbone of the nation, the backbone of the economy, is so understated. Literally, the country can't exist without the labor class, without the people that go in, that get their hands dirty, that make the phone calls, that do the spreadsheets, without the people that, shovel the gravel or whatever. Like, the country does not exist without them. And the owning class, the people who own stuff, right? They own what we call the means of production, have found a way to perpetually underpay, if paid at all, the working class in order to absorb just all of the profit. Let's do this real quick, okay? Billionaires, right? GDP per capita last year was what, $89,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, chat, show of hands in the chat. If you made $89,000 a day, would it change your life? I just need to. I'm gonna wait to see those hands. I'm gonna wait to see those raised hands in the chat, because I want to know: is anybody out here making 89 grand a day? Yeah, it would change. It would change your life. Did you know that if you made $89,000 a day, it would take you 30 years to become a billionaire, a $1 billionaire? 30 years after making $89,000 a day. Somebody said if I got 90K per year, I would be set. There are people that have amassed such an abundance by exploiting the workers, finding ways around having to pay the workers, finding free labor sources. They found such an effective way to do so that they're just obscene, stinky, filthy rich. You know what I mean? If you could more than sustain yourself off of $89,000 a day, you know, there's no need to be a multi-billionaire. It simply doesn't make sense, right? So, but the ways that they've done that is by teaching society through what? What are they teaching society through? I'm gonna give you. Go ahead, Ari. You
called on me? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just a question that was going to hang in the ether. But go ahead, Ari.
Yeah, no. They got
cultural hegemony.
Cultural hegemony. Teaching everyone that this is the way it's supposed to work, telling everybody that this is a good and natural way to do things, that the owning class takes on all the risk and they do all of the, all of the real work, right? Meanwhile, you're working 80-hour weeks while not seeing any compensation for your work, not seeing the full value of the compensation for your work. And we've been convinced of this by learning to categorize people, learning to write off certain categories of people. For example, patriarchy is a holdover from feudal times, right? The idea that men should rule, right? We have normalized in our minds, whether it be through Disney movies, right? Whether it be through your manic pixie dream girl in your new movies, MacGuffining, fridging women in the media, right? We have learned to normalize in our minds that women's place is women in femmes, their place is domestic and reproductive labor. That's a natural thing. They shouldn't be paid for their reproductive labor. They shouldn't be paid for their domestic labor, right? This is one of those ways that cultural hegemony has come into play, right? Another one is criminals. Criminals be working. Criminals be working. That's can I get some criminals be working in the chat? We've been taught that once someone is stigmatized or labeled as a criminal, that we are supposed to discard them from society, that we are no longer supposed to care about what happens to them, even if it means they're literal slaves. Right? And so this is why I wanted to talk about this, because I wanted to look at the institutions that we have, right? And I wanted to look at what the purpose is, what the function of these institutions are in society, and just get everybody to really think about, like, why do we do this? Why do we do prison the way we do prison? Why do we do patriarchy and gender the way we do patriarchy and gender? Why do we do race the way we do race? Why do we do school the way we do school? What is the function? What is the real function? And I'm gonna give you a cheat code. It's always about profit. 100% of the time. Yep.
Okay. Well, with that being said, let's open it up to the rest of the panel. Ari, I want to start with you, because Solid kind of tipped his hand, right? But I think that understanding the drive behind our society, and not only the drive behind our current society, but the way that it is ultimately structured and the end goal, and even more so how the society can be structured to, for lack of words, be an illusion, right? Solid pointed out that the actual framework of how things are set up is that, this is necessary. The people who have made all this money, they made this money, and the systems are set up, and these companies should make money and all this other stuff because they work hard or they set up the system or whatever the case may be. But Ari, it's deeper than that. So what do you want to add when it comes to the treatment of the labor class within our society and how profit drives the entire treatment of not only the labor class, but everyone in our society?
Yeah, I typically when I talk about this, we always talk about this in terms of race, especially in solid space, and I typically talk about this in terms of gender and the things that play up into like patriarchy. So like there's like when people talk about these things are way more complicated than your simple textbook definitions. And I think that's what's really important to get out of this conversation, right? Like racism, you're not going to get an understanding of racism from the dictionary. Sorry, guys. You're also not going to get an understanding of sexism, homophobia, transphobia from the dictionary either, because those also serve specific functions, right? To reinforce reproductive labor and not structuring, right? Misogyny is for when women and femmes step out of their role within a patriarchal construct, right? Whenever they step out of their role within a patriarchal construct and they're perceived as doing something masculine, they're recipients of misogyny. Homophobia, right, is also to reinforce that nuclear family structure, to reinforce reproductive labor, to create a labor class, right? They need reproductive labor to reinforce the labor class. They need children to be laborers, to exploit them. And so to reinforce that and treat us like basically like cattle to keep reproducing and give them things to exploit, they need homophobia to exist, to shame people for being in relationships that they don't see as producing children. And the same thing for transphobia, right? That it does not reinforce this idea of their nuclear family structure for reproduction, and also for stepping outside of your gender role assignment at birth. All of these things play into the reinforcement of the nuclear family structure for the enforcement of reproductive labor.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting. And the biggest thing that I've learned is that once you understand how all these things work together, life makes a lot more sense, right? I used to have a feeling that life we kind of floated along, and then we had to find purpose, right? And not understanding that the way that, if you remember that the current society that we live in, the driving factor is profit, then everything else makes sense as far as why it's structured the way it is, why people are separated into these different groups, classes, all this other things. It's all about how to maximize that free and cheap labor class that Sala was talking about. Lobo, I want to come to you. Specifically, I want to hear your thoughts, right? I know that you are a little bit on the more of trying to understand portion, but I would love to hear your perspective as someone who would be a part of the working class. How do you think today's society is beneficial to you and people like us that would be classified as the proletariat or the working class?
Oh boy. Because it does kind of feel like there's a little bit of two sides to that question, because it's how we as the working class actually benefit the society and how the society actually benefits us. And it's weird because it's like, I was one of those that, I didn't know where to roam. First I was a student, then I went from student to being, just hopping into temp agencies. We're looking for any type of work, trying to help the family out. And then realizing, that even that system has a limit, and that it's almost as if no matter how good you get at a certain job, you could literally be make yourself designed to be that job, to make it run as smooth as it does when you're in it, as opposed to when you're without, and you'll still be like, oh, okay, if anything happens to you, you could easily be replaced like a cog in a machine. And it's the sad truth that we actually gotta deal with this in the reality. And that's one of the reasons why I had to go to a trade school after working for many years, trying to see if I could get a leg up. I've been, customer service, hard labor, machines. I've been, in those ovens. Like, you ever been in an oven 200 degrees with already 90 degree weather? It's horrible.
Yeah.
And but yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just about to say, it's I feel like my heart bleeds for the working class, because I see how much they do.
Okay, I know you said there's two sides. I want you to stop right there, because I want to pass it to Solid, because Solid, he said something interesting, and I want to get your thoughts on it, because he talked about how, he was in one spot. He realized that he needed to do more and to find something, i.e. a trade, to try to progress his life, progress where he is. And so he started to look for something better. And Solid, I understand that America's pitched as this country where if you work hard and you grab those boots and you start tugging on the straps, that you too one day can be Elon Musk, right? Is that a reality, Solid? Can we ever work so hard that we substantially change our material reality just by working harder?
So class mobility is a thing, but not so much of a thing. The likelihood is so much higher that you will end your life in the same class that you began your life. It's almost, I believe it was 33 to 35% of people in the lower class end up in the middle class, which is abysmal. You know what I mean? If what is preached is true, that you are able to like simply just buckle down, work super hard, and then you'll end up where you need to be, then everybody would be doing it, and they're simply not. They're simply not. When you have 70 to 65 to 70% of people in the lower class staying in the lower class, it's just not the thing. And in fact, there's a lot of push to ensure that people stay in the lower class. There are, food insecurity. There's a reason why food insecurity isn't attacked as vigorously as it could be. Right? Why they repeal things like broad-based categorical eligibility that allows states a little bit more flexibility when granting you sustenance benefits, and the reasons that will be given to you is that people are going to take advantage of the system and they're wasting your tax dollars while they turn around and spend a quarter. Is it a third of the budget on military spending? It's simply the story over the reality. The story tends to replace the reality in our minds, and we never consider that this is by design. America has 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's prison population, and this is by design. It's profitable to make people work for free.
Yeah. It absolutely is. And I don't want to give away too much, but I'm going to flex a couple of things that I've learned recently. But I completely agree with you. And so I thought it was interesting, Lobo, that you talked about that first portion. Now, you said you could see two sides. So I want to come back to you for a second and let you finish that second part of what you were talking about. What's the other side that you can see?
Well, like the other side that I could see is that basically, we as workers, we're always emphasized, get this right, make sure you're on point. And then the other side to that is that we also see that no matter how hard we work or anything like that, there's no actual, big gain or anything off of it. Like if you're the average worker, you don't really get the satisfaction of seeing like, oh, I actually feel like I've done a job well done, because it always feels like it's a never ending train. And when you start to realize just how never ending it is, how much they really benefit off of like the hard workers, as opposed to, the quote unquote, those lazy workers that we quote unquote don't like, you start to really just see like how much they really rely on certain people, and to the point that they will literally, the system will break after that person's gone, or we'll have like a whole debacle. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, we didn't do anything that they were owed, or we didn't do right by them to ensure that, hey, if anything did happen to them, that everything will be fine. We're just going to try to, replace the cogs, everything like that. No added benefits. Like, for example, there was supposed to be an incentive to move up as a supervisor. And this is from like a call center job. And so they gave me 2-3 interviews for this same thing. And mind you, it's supposed to be a pay cut because you're cutting commission. Now they gave me 2-3 interviews, then put me into a position where I was making even lower money, and I wasn't getting the supervisor position, because they said, oh, you need to do like a month or 2 on these, grading the calls, and then you'll be good. So I'll go there, do that, come back. Yeah, that position's filled. And, oh, my bad. Just the whole point is that it's an incentive to work hard, but there's no satisfactory like end for that. And that's it.
Okay. Welcome in, Swan Raid. As you get in, tap the screen, share the live. I know there's people in the request. We're going to start bringing some more people in just a moment. So if you're interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and hit that request button. Solid. It sounds like to me that from the experience that Lobo just shared, that maybe the way that the society continues to function is by dangling carrots in front of people, putting the working class against each other, and then separating even within the working class, maybe like a hierarchy. So, while even though they don't move from the working class, there's still someone within that class doing better, and they can actually, watch the lower class. I don't know. I'm just speaking. What do you think about that, Solid?
So the idea of a buffer class is not a new concept. Buffer classes are there to sell the story, right? The verisimilitude that if you are, if you simply buckle down, if you pull your pants up and stop eating the avocado toast and stop buying those iPhones, then you too can have a Hyundai Santa Fe. Right? People make jokes all the time and say, "Oh, Solid, you look like you're doing good. You're doing all right. You're doing a great job." It's like, well, you own your house. You were able to go to school. Well, I also went to combat for that. I've been battling PTSD for 20 years in order to get to where I'm at. Right? So yes, absolutely. There is this story, the story of the ubiquitous story of starting a business in your garage that grows to a multi-million-dollar corporation. The story of the garage business booming because people just played it smart. The movie with Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness. There are all these stories in our cultural zeitgeist that lend to that cultural hegemony, that tell us that this is the way it works. And the story becomes so repetitive that instead of just being a story, it feels like analysis. It's not the case, because when we actually look at the numbers, we have the resume study, right? We have the gender pay gap. You know what I mean? And it's not just there. Things that we don't even. Hello.
Sorry. Could you give me a second? I'm just going to put myself on mute. I'm
going to mute you. I haven't introduced you yet. Sorry. Go ahead, Solid.
Shit. Sorry, Mama Santana. Sorry, Mama Jones. Hold on. Let me check on my family real quick.
Yep. While he does that, really quickly, guys, Debbie's in the chat for Fashid. Fashid sent a $6 donation saying, "Brother Santana, good to see you. I know this is a random question, but RoboCop versus Terminator, which one are you choosing?" Terminator, without a doubt. Debbie's in the chat for Caroline. Hey, Caroline, who sent an $8 donation saying, "Hi, Santana. How exactly have you planned this topic out? Because I'm very interested in the next move is the best move. Have fun for everyone. I probably will be asleep again soon." I know you will be, but you gotta wait. We don't give away the topics. We kind of code it. And you know what that fourth one always is, but wait and see. Debbie's in the chat for Caroline. Debbie's in the chat for Barbara for the $5 donation saying, "Thank you for all that you do. You are appreciated, Barbara. You are appreciated. Thank you so much for that $5 donation." Debbie's in the chat for Ariel for the $2 super chat over on YouTube. Says, "Thank you for trolling these idiots." Absolutely. Debbie's in the chat for Activista for the $2 super chat to say, "Hey there, Santana." Hey, Activista. Debbie's in the chat as well for Heavenly for the $10 super chat to say, let's go. Debbie's in the chat for One Mighty Pen. Holy, wait, let me go back. Holy smokes. Watch my Sean. What up, Sean? Sean resubscribed for 16 months. Holy smokes. W's in chat for Sean for the resubscription over on Twitch for 16 months. That is crazy. That is crazy. W's in the chat for One Mighty Pen for resubscribing. W's in the chat for One Mighty Pen for giving out 2 community subs. And W's in the chat for Steve J321 for resubscribing with their YouTube membership Prime. W's in the chat for all the donos and the subscriptions, guys. If you like what we do here on Late Nights, if you want to keep Late Nights going, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and Linktree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. Now, guys, we are doing something special this weekend. That something special is the actual funds that we're raising to go towards this amazing film that Solid is producing. We're trying to help him get to his goal. There's a GoFundMe. If you check the link in the poll, if you check the link in his bio, if you check the link in my bio, we are trying to raise this money to raise awareness for the infantry that Solid was a part of, the infantry that actually stormed Normandy, the 2nd 16 Infantry Battalion. And so he has a total goal. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. He has a total goal of $25,000, which will get this film produced. And so far tonight, I'm going to put this on the screen. Boop. Hold on. Let me see. Let's do it like this. There we go. So far tonight, we started at $6,765. We're currently up to $2,150. But please be aware, J-Hops dropped a whole 2 bands on that. So we got a lot of work to do, guys. So please make sure that you are hitting that link, going to the GoFundMe. I will be giving you guys updates throughout the entire night, throughout the entire week. We want to do our part, chip in. Please make sure that you are adding to that. With that being said, Solid, are we G to G?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because when ain't nothing going on, they don't want to be bothered by me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When I got something going on, they, you know. Where are we? You were talking about the hierarchy within the buffer class. Absolutely, and I just don't feel like I feel like there's a natural maintenance or like a passive maintenance of class and hierarchy that is done so for the purpose of securing a vulnerable class of people that are easier to feed into a free and cheap labor force. And part of that is just by telling a story, sanitizing history, right? Whitewashing history, pretending like the things that are going on in front of our face aren't going on, right? Like the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, voter ID laws, this purging of immigrants, you know. It's just a very insidious, machinacious way of maintaining class and ensuring that that power is consolidated in the hands of a few people. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Lobos, I am going to swap you out in just a second here, but I want to give you the floor for just a few more moments before we get new people, get someone else in, and then also introduce new people. Lobo, I do want to know, right, because your story is interesting to me. Last question I have is, has your experience, because I think if I remember right, you're close to my age. Is that accurate?
I'm actually a little younger, man. I'm 28.
Oh, okay. Not even close. For some reason, I thought she was like 32 or 34. Okay. So you're 28. You still have actually been involved in the actual workforce. And while you have put some years in, you still have some years in front of you. What have you seen from the time that you've entered the workforce to where you are now? And do you think this is sustainable, or do you think that this something has to or will change?
I think I definitely, first and foremost, I definitely think that something does need to change. It definitely does need to change. It's been needing to change. I think throughout the years, we kind of do see more of it getting worse, if I'm being honest, just because you got so many people willing to cut corners, or, oh yeah, we're going to underpay here, or we're going to, invest in that, or we're going to, do something else like around the book, or kind of like, tiptoeing around the actual, getting actual results. And it kind of feels like if we even get close to those results getting done, it just seems like an impossible task. Like, you could tell the machine needs to run better. You could tell there's parts not going right with it. It don't got enough gas in it. Ain't got enough oil in it. The parts is old. And there's not enough like consideration or taking care of or maintenance of said parts, aka people. And that's what the sad part is that they see people as objects, and they don't actually see them as the people that they deserve to be, that they should be. Yeah. This is just a specialized class worker that they don't need, they don't live or breathe anything else but work inside this, this building or these premises.
Yeah. No, listen, not only do I agree with that, I think that once you take more of a holistic look at not only society, but capitalism as a whole, when you look at the separation, the people that benefit from capitalism and these current these societal structures, not only do they look at the workers as just machines, tools to gain that capitalism, but every aspect of society to them are just those machines and tools to actually create capital. It's a thing. But anyway, Lobo, thank you so much for coming up and joining the conversation. I'm going to swap you out, okay?
No problem. Oh, and one last thing. When you get little donations from an avocado man, I know that avocado man.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wait, is avocado you?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Funny. You can't say my name, but I appreciate it. I've actually gotten that quite a lot.
Listen, that first name,
it's funny.
Whew, I tried a couple
9
times.
letters.
How do you say it?
It's Anastasio.
Anastasio. I'm gonna try it next time. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
You as well. All right, we're gonna introduce the new people on the panel, and then we're gonna get right back into the conversation. So I'm gonna start with Swan. Hey, Swan.
Hey, Santana, how are you?
Good. Swan, can you tell me what is your understanding of how our current society works?
Well, I would say that there are two systems that kind of go hand in hand that really drive how society functions, that we can sum pretty much everything down to, and that would be capitalism, racism. I would also add in patriarchy. I think we have a complex set of systems that all kind of intertwine and work together. And unfortunately, many people are exploited. Few people benefit from that exploitation. And I think that there's a lot going on in between. And this has been happening for quite some time. And we're starting to see some shifts, I think, globally right now. But I'll end it there for now.
Okay, perfect. Blue Barbie, how are you?
Hello again. How are you, Santana? And hello to everybody on the panel as well.
Good. Blue Barbie, can you tell the people what is your current understanding of how America runs today?
I see someone. Thank you for the guest. Sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. What is your current understanding of how America runs today?
I think that our country was built on exploitation. I think that our country has always exploited people in multiple different ways. And in particular, what I wanted to talk about is I saw on the panel Jewish treatment of the labor class, and I wanted to say I 100% agree. I think that our country unfairly mistreats labor employees. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the rich and wealthy and the big businesses giving the working class people such little pay. That is so unfair.
Okay.
And I also wanted to bring this up. While you were talking to the others, while you were talking to some of the others on the panel, I decided to do the math. Now, please forgive me if my math is incorrect. But in particular, housing, for a lot of apartments, it is $2,000 a month. Even for very small apartments, it's about $2,000. If you multiply 2,000 by 365, you are paying $730,000 a year for a small apartment. That is a joke.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that speaks a lot to where we are as a whole, as society, and how things work. All right, give me a second here. Last but not least, Noah. Noah, how are you?
What's up, sir? I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, guess what I finished today?
I don't want to hear it, bro. I've been trying to get you to read Lenin for 10 years.
I'm putting it on the list. I got like a whole reading list. I'm going through things. Anyway,
okay.
Noah, can you tell the people what is your current understanding of how America runs today?
Much of what Swan said is capitalist, white supremacist, genocidal empire. It is extremely antagonistic to labor. So I'm excited to get into that.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to get back into the conversation. One thing that I want to call out really quickly before we get into the conversation, I saw Petty say something in the comment, and I think that would actually be awesome. Guys, we have currently 790 people watching on TikTok, right? We have 790 people watching on TikTok. If we add the people that are currently watching on YouTube, we got a total of 958 people watching. And if everyone sends $5 to the GoFundMe, $5, just $5. Everyone, if you can send $5, that will actually bring us to a grand total of $4,790 just by everyone sending $5 to the GoFundMe for the project that Solid is working on. So please go check that out. We are driving this initiative. We want to actually do this. Where we currently are so far this evening, again, we have added a total of 2,150 since the start of the live. So it's going to be in the poll. It's going to be in Solid's bio, my link tree in my bio, all around. So if you guys can do it, please go ahead and take care of it. And with that being said, Solid, I want to come back to you. I want to come to you because I think that something we need to actually talk about, and it was super interesting because Blue Barbie kind of hit it on the head for a second, but the way that society or everything currently works, companies are making record profits, right? I mean, they're making money hand over fist. One of my, used to be one of my favorite things growing up was watching wrestling. And the WWE, I'm a little hot and cold with them because of how they have done things. But during C19, they shifted to a practice because they started making record profits, right? And then they moved towards an actual position where they started to not only make record profits, but cut people and actually fired or cut their talent at the same time to ensure that those record profits continued, right? So not only were they making money, they were nickel and diming their talent and then also cutting talent to ensure that every single quarter, record profit. Solid. Why is it that with the labor class, there is a need to pay them less to squeeze every single nickel and dime out?
So the short answer is profit. If you look at the equation for profit, it's basically gross income minus cost equals gross revenue minus cost equals profit, right? And so if you want to keep those numbers high, you either have to increase your income or decrease your cost. For the worker, right? Their wages are a cost. And you better believe that if you make your company $100 per hour, at best they're going to pay you $50 per hour. What's left over is referred to as Noah's put in the comments. It's called your surplus labor value. So your surplus labor is being stolen specifically so that the company itself, the corporation itself, can increase their profit. That's the incentive. That's the reason why. If companies actually paid you what you generate, they would make no profit, which means they would go out of business. Under capitalism, the motivation for production in general is profit, to get out more than you have put in, to get more back from your employees than you give out. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting because then they position the record-breaking profits if you're within a company as like, oh, we did it, but we don't actually get the profits, right? It's interesting how it's positioned. Ari, why is it that companies make billions of dollars, and when they break records, we make billions of dollars, but we only get pizza parties?
Well, one, I just want to say this really quick. Noah, Nana Boo Boo, I'm the one that gave Santana the list. I win. I just want to get that one up on Noah because he makes fun of my hats. Anyway, that's because part of the cultural hegemony of capitalism, of all these structures, is convincing the working class that we need the 1%. Right? Literally, you see people all the time, Santana, on your platform saying that, like, people of the working class saying we need Elon Musk. No, actually, they need us. They are extremely dependent on us and our labor to get those profits, right? And they have convinced you, right, that you need them, right? And so, in creating this cultural structure of basically, we should be grateful for the things. Like, my mom has said this to me, that I should basically be grateful for any job that's presented to me, right? And so, basically, to just accept the conditions in which I'm being forced to work into. And the answer is no. So that's why a lot of these things exist, at least for right now, where I stand in the conversation, is really paying attention to the culture and the lies and manipulation. And that's how they continue to exploit you, is they keep lying to you. But this is why reading is so important. Yeah. I agree. And it's super interesting that you brought that up. And Solid, I want to kick it back to you for a second. One thing that's always been super interesting, at least from my adult life, and it spawns from what Ari just said. People don't talk about how much they make, right? When you're in that workforce, you don't have that conversation. Nobody talks about what they make. Now, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Big Daddy Cool, Big Daddy Sexy, Kevin Nash. Him, along with Scott Hall, did something that was revolutionary within the wrestling industry. And I spoke about WWE and their practices, but they started talking about how much they were getting for contracts, right? They started having that conversation and saying, like, hey,
This is what we're making. What are you making? And by them sharing that information amongst each other instead of being hush hush, it improved the contracts for all the wrestlers. It forced them, the people that were negotiating the contracts, to negotiate from a place of transparency versus a place of anonymity where they held all the power. Solid, why is it that there has been such a focus on not sharing the information and allowing that the actual workforce to be exploited by the people in charge?
Okay, I'm going to say a dirty word. Socialists. The reason why we have 5-day work weeks and not 7-day work weeks is because of socialists. The reason why we have 8-hour work days and not 12-hour work days is because of socialists. And the thing that socialists tend to focus on is one, the seizing of the means of production, and two, class solidarity. Communication between people in the workplace and agreed upon, cohesiveness between people in the working class, in the same industry, in the same sector. The reason why they don't want you to talk is because if you know how you're getting shafted, then you can do something about it, right? You can collectivize. You can come together against the person that is cheating you. But first, you would have to know you're being cheated. Okay, there's a concept in sociology when it comes to culture, and that is social norms, right? When I say social norms, I say the things that we all kind of take for granted that we do in unison as a society, right? It is a social norm that you walk out of the house wearing clothes, right? It is a social norm that you sit in chairs, with your back up against the back of the chair, right? There are violations of social norms. There are things called folkways, which are these like unspoken rules that you can't really be sanctioned for, right? There are mores that the social rules that if you break them, you'll be punished a little bit socially, right? There are laws that if you violate those, you'll be punished by the state. There are taboo. These are things that are so egregious, such gross violations of societal norms that if you do these violations, you'll be punished heavily. You'll be ostracized, cast out, right? You even maybe run the risk of retaliation, right? It is a taboo to discuss your wages, and that taboo has been implemented culturally in order to ensure the success of the owning class, the ability of the owning class to siphon your surplus labor away. So that's not the only one, right? Community medicine, community gardens, right? Things like carpooling, right? Things like the denormalization of public transport, like things like that. Things like living in neighborhoods that are not walkable. Things that we don't even consider when it comes to participating in economics. You know what I mean? These things have been implemented specifically to prevent what in the hizzle for shizzle?
Lock in, Solid.
Okay, all right. I see my biggest op come in. So so these things have been implemented to discourage the simple behaviors that would lead to liberation of the working class. all of the things that were done sometimes in hushes and whispers in order to organize to go and get back that surplus labor that was stolen, in order to seize the means of production, things that would be harmful for the elites and the work and the owning class, have now been demonized culturally to protect the owning class. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? The white woman emojis is unhinged. Okay, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. All right. So I want to do this really quickly because I feel like I need to make this announcement. Now, W's in the chat for Janet. Janet, thank you so much for the $5 you said for Solid's GoFundMe. I appreciate you, Janet. W's in the chat for John for the $50 says, here's $5 from me, and the rest on behalf of 9 people hate watching. You know they're hate watching for sure, because we know they're not going to pony up. They are not. W's in the chat for Indigo for the $5 said, can you pass this to Solid for the GoFundMe? Absolutely. W's in the chat for all those people. Guys, please, while I appreciate you guys sending the funds, and I know it's easy to send it directly to me, but the great thing about the GoFundMe or GFM is the fact that you can donate directly there no matter what pay options you have. So just click the link. We got them running in the poll. We got them running in my bio. It's in Solid's bio. It's in Petty's bio. Please just send it directly there. I will absolutely send these over. No worries. I just want to make sure that I remind people the best way to do it is to send it there directly. And while we're talking about it, I do want to call out that we are currently, since the start of the live, we have been able to raise $2,275 outside of the amount that was just sent over to me. And so I'm going to add that here shortly. But again, I know that seems like a lot, but we had one person drop $2,000 by themselves. So guys, we got a ton of work to do. Let's get to work. Let's show Solid some love. We're trying to raise this money to ensure that Solid can make this film, which will be highlighting the 2nd 16th Infantry Battalion, the actual battalion that stormed Normandy. We're going to be talking about the racism that they have experienced. It's a film that he's doing. It's called We're Not All Green, highlighting the stories of the Black soldiers. So please get over there and show that some love. Also, I do want to say Debbie's in the chat for Brookie. Hey, Brookie. Brookie sent a $3 donation and saying, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Brookie. And Debbie's in the chat for Hornet for the $20 super chat to say, hey, sir, new here. Is this a pre-planned debate as not random TikTok guests? Either way, I'm into it. Just curious. This is late nights with Santana. This is not a debate. This is a panel discussion. This is an open discussion for people that want to join. And even you, Hornet, I'm sorry, not Hornet. Holy smokes. Horrors and Cats. If you would like to join, you can join. All you have to do is actually click the link. I know you're over on YouTube. Boop. Just like Sean did. And you can actually come up. With that being said, really quickly, we'll introduce Sean. Then I want to give the floor to.
Real quick, can I do some W's before that?
Go.
Are we good for the first names?
Yeah, as long as they don't say not to. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. W. Angela, W. David, Chelsea, Irene, Tawny, Courtney, Pat, Pepper, Daniela, Linda, and Megan. W. Y'all for your donos. A million thanks. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. All right, Sean, I'm going to give you the floor for the quick introduction, and then we're going to go back to Swan, wrapping around the Blue Barbie, and then back to Noah. So, Sean, first and foremost, what is your current understanding of how America runs today?
My current understanding. First, let me ask.
Can you barely hear you?
You can barely hear me.
How
about now?
Perfect.
Well, I'm gonna say thank you for having me on here. My understanding of ask the question one more time.
What is your current understanding of how America runs today?
My current understanding of how America runs today is wrapped up in one word: palingenetic alternationalism. We've never moved away from the idea of unaliving a bunch of people or having like the moral high ground for a specific racial and social class within our society that doesn't feed people, and shout out to Solid for this one, feed people, non-white people into a free and cheap labor force, or just non-marginalized people in general. I would say that the United States is the original form of fascism and has perfected fascism to essentially trick people into thinking that it's not fascist.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Swan, I want to come back to you. So something that I learned, and I kind of want to tie this in. I know it may be a little bit outside of what we're currently talking about, but understanding that societies have finite resources, right, within their borders, and the actual perpetuation of capitalism deems that people have to not only consume what's within their borders, but consume what's considered to be rare or outside of their borders, right? We know that there is the driving need for everyone to have the iPhone 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, even though the only difference between each one of those iPhones is a couple of pixels. But it takes so much to create that actual phone just so people can have that next phone. Swan, how is the profit driving the need for profit? How does that actually impact not only what happens here within the US, but the way that the rest of the world is treated in order to generate more profit?
I'm going to center places where those raw materials would come from. And this might sound a little bit weird, but I don't like to refer to the continent of Africa as resources anymore, because that kind of gives people this entitlement to just taking from them. And that's got to stop. So I'm just going to use the term raw materials. But what is happening right now, like, for example, in the Congo, you have mines that have been established by, different countries, and people are essentially forced to work in these mines, right? Where they are looking for things like cobalt. And this isn't, I wouldn't even call it work. This is slave labor. You have children that are forced to work in these mines with no protective gear. They call them artisanal miners. Unfortunately, the price that people in the Congo are paying is children not having their parents, children not living beyond a certain age, people that have been displaced who do not have homes, some who don't even have tents, they don't have access to water, they don't have access to food. And right now they're dealing with the Ebola virus. And because of there's such this focus on like enslaving people and children there, they don't have like doctors and nurses and things like that. And got the Ebola virus, there's no vaccine for it. I believe there are 3 treatment centers, and I just found out recently that one burned down. So obviously people are going to need to quarantine, but there are people that cannot afford to quarantine. They're going to have to go and labor in these mines. Children are still going to have to labor in these mines. And this has caused a level of devastation that is wiping people out and also harming the environment. When we talk about different mudslides that have taken place, we know that the Zaire River running through the Congo has been deemed unalived. And unfortunately, now we're seeing that start to affect, for example, we paid $2,000 to assist an infant with getting a tumor removed from their head because they were born with a very large tumor, almost twice the size of their head, in order for them to live. That's the price that's paid for us to have these phones. We're carrying their blood, their lives, their time, their labor, and not having freedom in everybody's, it's in the palm of everybody's hands. So that is the price that's paid for all of this. Obviously there are things that we deal with here in the United States, but I think it's really important to center what is happening in the Congo and other places. And also the fact that you do have paramilitary groups, right? You have the M23 rebels. I watched a video recently of children who feel as though that's the only thing that they have in order to survive is becoming rebels. There's a lot more I could get into, but I'll stop there. But this is extremely inhumane, and it seems as though people have become desensitized to it. So unfortunately, knowing that this is happening, seeing that this is happening, and not seeing anybody do enough about it, I think it's also robbed us of our humanity as well.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to be said about that, because I know for a fact we are focusing in on what's happening here within our country and how society has shaped things. But I would be remiss if I didn't blow that out, especially with having you on the panel and giving you an opportunity to speak on that. So I really appreciate that. Blue Barbie, coming back to you, you brought up an excellent point as far as the cost of living and the way that we're being paid. Blue Barbie, why do you think that understanding that things are so unaffordable, right? The cost of living is going up, the cost of rent is going up. It's more costly to exist within our society today, but yet the people that are producing the most, the people that are doing the things, are the ones that are actually getting paid the least.
Before I answer your question, I just wanted to apologize to you and to the chat and the panel. I realized that my math was very flawed, and I definitely could have done it a lot better. No, but so I do apologize. But yeah, the point that I was making was on housing, because I think that companies prioritize corporate over humanity. I think that corporations have absolutely no humanity. I don't think that they care about human life. I think they only care about money. I don't think that they care about their consumers. I don't think that they care about people that are just trying to get by. They only care about money, which is why they raise prices, because this is just business to them. I believe that it is corporate greed.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think that was an excellent point. Corporate greed is absolutely something that continues to drive how we actually deal with things within our society. And the most interesting thing about corporate greed, and Noah, I want to pass this to you. Hey, can we all get in on some of that corporate greed? Or like, why is it that the actual society that we live in, I mean, there's more people working than in any point in our country's history, and companies are making more profits than ever, but there's more poor people than ever before.
Can I give
everybody can't get in. I think this is why I love Marx so much, because he outlines what he defines as a contradiction that constitutes the relationship between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, right? So as a worker, your desire is to make the highest wage possible, right? And as an owner or a member of the bourgeoisie, your desire is to profit the most. And so your desire is to keep wages low. And so we have this like fundamental contradiction that is irreconcilable within the capitalist mode of production. And I think people need to recognize that, like, when we see things like poverty, we see things like unemployment, you don't even need to engage with Marxists to confirm what I'm saying here. Like, unemployment is a necessary condition of capitalism. Even capitalist economists will tell you, like, there is an ideal percentage of unemployment that needs to be maintained. So, you know, to use the phrase that Solid uses of the free and cheap labor force, there needs to be a class of people who are, I wouldn't say more willing to be exploited, but are put into a position where they will accept more exploitative conditions, right? There was also a thing I wanted to say to Solid, but I can hold that if you want me to.
Go ahead.
It was a little bit ago.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Solid was talking about like the demonization of like labor and labor organizing and labor power and stuff. And I feel like we'd be remiss not to bring up what I think is the most impactful piece of legislation as it pertains to labor, which is the Taft-Hartley Act. Highly recommend everybody look into that. It essentially proscribed like all types of union organizing and labor organizing. And it was instituted at the same time as like the Red Scare was in sort of like full effect too. And so you have this like dual apparatus of anti-communist repression and also just anti-labor movements. Like they were prosecuting folks who were doing labor organizing who didn't even identify with like Marxism or communism. And so, you know, like I opened up with, if we look at this country's history, especially like post 19th century, it is just full of anti-radical and anti-labor specific legislation.
Yeah. The most interesting thing that I learned, and in which I feel silly for not understanding and not knowing prior to today, the different iterations and the way that capitalism has existed throughout society with the reinvention of itself, right? When the current system is getting ready to collapse, there's a transfer of, you know, who's at the top and who is at the quote unquote bottom, and the reorganization of that in different levels, it just continues to persist. But the one thing that's super interesting is, as long as that the entity of capitalism exists, there may be minimum changes as far as, to Salah's point, people moving upward, but there's never an overall shift where the majority of people get to benefit from the corporate greed. Solid, would you like to add anything to that point?
Absolutely. To Noah's point, there's a video that I did talking about, I can't remember, NSPM 7, right? NSPM 7, much like McCarthyism, is there to demonize any type of leftist organization, right? It is Donald Trump encouraging the FBI to investigate sentiments of leftism, to disrupt, to be agent provocateurs, literally to prosecute. The thing about McCarthyism is Joseph McCarthy was, like Noah said, prosecuting people, bringing people to court, ruining their livelihood, just off of claims, like the Salem witch trials, like a witch hunt, just off of claims of them being communists. This is one of the ways, right? Now there's this NSPM 7 that's there to say, like, listen, if it looked like a leftist, if it sounds like a leftist, we skipping past communist, we're going to terrorist, right? Treat them as though they are terrorists. And he cites this recent attempt that just happened at the hotel, the one that happened in Pennsylvania, right? He's citing just Mr. Kirk's person, right? I don't want to say the names. So he's saying this is our justification. The left has become so radical that they are literally becoming terrorists. Never mind the 1,600 people that I just created a slush fund so I could pay them after they put poo-poo on the walls in the Capitol. The ones that literally unalived a Capitol police officer. Never mind them, the leftists. And the reason why is because an educated workers, population of workers is a dangerous population of workers to the capitalist, to the owner of the corporation. An organized workforce literally threatens their livelihood. And so this is, again, when we talk about societal design of economics, this is what I'm talking about. The assignment and the stigmatization of certain groups of people, ideas of people, archetypes of people, phenotypes of people, genders of people, sexualities of people. We're going to vilify them. We're going to criminalize them, right? Because if they find out that they are stronger together, if they find out that they are being cheated, if they're not fighting each other, then they come for us. They get tired of us saying, let them eat cake. First, they came for the communists. And I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist, right? They left out, first they came for the trans people. They left that part out of the poem. But the saying there is, first they came for the communists, right? And I didn't speak up because, right? And then when they came for me, there was no one left to speak up for me, right? So now it's not, it's this stuff should be radicalizing you. I'm going to be honest, because it's not even extending to literal commies anymore. It's not like me and sis, you know what I'm saying? Me and Noah, me and Swan, me and Ari, they could have been, you know what I'm saying? It's not even us no more. It's just regular libs. You know what I'm saying? It's just regular folks that are tired of being mistreated at their jobs. If you speak up, if you're too vocal, if you're too loud, you're now literally, and I'm not trying to fearmonger here, you're literally in danger. That's it. I'm sorry. That was depressing.
I think it's
red velvet cupcakes are delicious.
They are.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to actually call that out, right? Because understanding the actual way that things work within our country, a lot of people are so focused on making it day to day, and that's how it's structured. It's structured for us to make it day to day without realizing what's actually happening. So I think it's important to call out. Sean, you told me a funny story one time. You and I were talking, and you were telling me about how you got mad, for lack of better words, at your employees because you were encouraging them to basically come together, right? And they didn't understand it. Sean, why is it important for not only for the workforce to unite, but class solidarity as a whole when it comes to dealing with this current exploitation of the labor class?
So there's a lot to answer this question, and I'm going to try and do it in a way that doesn't take up too much time. But as short of an answer as I can think of it, excuse me, is that it's incredibly powerful to the movement of dual power structures. Dual power structures are power structures that are engage in opposing views to the state that is currently in charge of what we do for employment in the bourgeois state. So how there's a company and there's a board and there's your CEO or whatever. Your union is a dual power structure, called a dual power structure. It would be a form of dual power to combat that in order to engage in employment action to give more rights to the employees. One of the reasons as to why this is so important and class solidarity is so important is because the way that they continuously keep us under the spells that Noah talked about and that my brother talks about and that Ari talks about and that Swan talks about, Santana talks about, is that they divide us. They tell us things like, if you're making more money than this person, then you're better than this person, so it makes you a better person. They also tell you that if these people, if something happens to these people while they're on the job, then they're just bad people. So when they fire someone for something that's very nitpicky, when it comes to things like time accountability is very capitalistic. It is extraordinarily capitalistic to the point where it is literally all about the money. It is literally about everything that is on the piece of paper. Does this person cost me money with the time that they're taking up to do X, Y, or Z? Or does this person cost me money by being 5 minutes late to work? And if they cannot find anything else in a company that shows that they're losing more money then they will start nitpicking on these specific things to make as much money as they possibly can. Getting together in a union, implementing things like within a capitalistic system, you can only do so much. The only thing that'll really get rid of the oppression is revolution, full-blown armed revolution. But some of the things that you can do in order to make sure they don't ruin your livelihood or your coworkers' livelihood is get together with your coworkers and implement things with your union, like grace periods. Those types of things are very important. But the reason as to why it's so important is because if you do not organize with your other workers, they will constantly strip things away from you. We see this happening every day. We see unions that are unionized and have agreements for 5-year raises. And we see companies telling these unions and these unions going on strike. Look at the locomotive, look at the unions in locomotive areas of the country, in Pennsylvania in particular, where they're going on strike. And you ask them, why are you going on strike? It's like, oh, well, we have a contract for a 5-year raise and we've only done 2 years of that. And they're telling us next year we're not getting our raise because they, quote unquote, can't afford it. Them going on strike does big things. Look at the automotive industry, especially manufacturing. We had a couple, I was going to say riots. We almost turned into riots. We had a couple of strikes not too far back, a couple of years ago, that pretty much shut down the automotive industry. And it really did change shit for the automotive industry. When farmers get together, usually when these factions get together, like if we can figure out a way, especially to get, this is a small digression, if we could figure out a way to especially get truck drivers to unionize in a way that isn't currently, I'm scared to say some of this, I'm not gonna lie, because some of these unions are essentially gangs. When it comes to, like, Teamster is essentially a gang. So if I say too much about Teamster, I might have some people riding on me. But either way, the whole point is that if we get these places to organize in non-bourgeois ways, if we get truck drivers to organize and just stop driving trucks for one day, 24 hours of no trucks going back and forth up the roads until truck drivers get a guaranteed livable wage, it would absolutely devastate the bourgeois. The bourgeois is the owning class, the capitalist class, your CEOs, your CFOs, your shareholders, the people who own the company. It would absolutely devastate their pockets, and they will absolutely fold like laundry, and give us more power, bargaining power within the workplace. But again, I will say this: none of that matters in the grand scheme of things. It just matters right now to get you something to eat while you learn about socialism, while you learn about communism, while you learn about how to do revolution, while you learn about how to build dual power structures that actually fight the system rather than dual power structures to just like keep yourself afloat. Like, unionizing is less than the bare minimum. Unions going on strike is less than the bare minimum. CFOs and CEOs folding is less than the bare minimum. Unions getting their way is less than the bare minimum. We are underwater, and your strike gets you just this much closer to the surface. But that's why it's very important, because without those things, we got nothing. Mm-hmm. We don't have any power to stop anything. They're just going to continue to do it. And if you continue to tell people about the problem and don't give them any solutions on how to fix the problem, and that includes praxis. Praxis is when you take theory, when you read theory, and then you apply it to real life. So when you join unions, when you do armed revolution, when you build infrastructure, when you do dual power, all of these things, it's called praxis. Without praxis, they can just do whatever they want to us.
Yep. I think that's
when you
super.
Do agitation propaganda.
Agitation propaganda. I learned about that. Anyway, I think that's super important for us to call out, because I think that a lot of people don't understand how we can fight back. And I'm so happy that I passed the baton to Sean on that when I knew that she was going to actually do it right. Solid, I want to come back to you. And then I'm going to say thank you. And then we're going to swap someone out and take this in a certain direction, but Solid, coming back to you. Sean hit it on the head. In order to, I know I'd said class solidarity, and Sean talked about like specific ways that we can actually influence that. I know one thing that we have to talk about is the way that the workers fight back, or how they should fight back. Solid, do you want to tee that up?
Yeah. So listen, Sean absolutely did talk about, like a day-long strike for transpo, right? And how great of an impact that would happen. I want to, like, when we think about strikes, what's really weird is it often doesn't even have to get to that point, or it often doesn't get to that point because capitalists are so afraid of the loss of that revenue or being having their revenue affected negatively, that they capitulate in a way that's minute to them, but means a great deal to the workers themselves. And so the workers end up becoming complacent, right? So pizza parties, like they're cliche at this point, but it's it's been a really effective tool. It just let them eat pizza is what Marie Antoinette said, I believe. But is that what Marie Antoinette said? Let them eat pizza?
I think according to my job, she said, let them eat Mission Barbecue, but
let them eat Mission Barbecue. And listen, that's effective because Mission Barbecue.
But if you think about it, Solid,
so hard.
They've been training us with those pizza parties since we were in school. And we
were in school.
They've trained us. The slices were smaller, and now since you're working, you get a whole slice instead of sharing one slice between 3 people. Anyway,
you see what I'm saying? I remember our book reading competition. I got to ride in a limousine to Pizza Hut. Okay, Martin Luther King Middle School. All right. I'm sorry. Again, societal design as economics, right? Influencing the people themselves, culturally influencing, building expectations, building norms in order to keep the workers from organizing. So I want to round this off because I was headed somewhere. And because of the TBI, the ADD, and the PTSD, I always forget where I'm going, but I'll bring it back. I promise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So the idea, right, that the small capitulation to the workers, the small bit of, all right, okay, I tell you what, we'll give you $1 raise. And then that sits the workers down. All right, okay, we won't make you work holidays, and that satiates the workers. That means they could have been doing it the entire time. They could have been doing the things necessary to keep their workforce happy, and which hates this term, but nurturing your human capital is literally. And this is proof that profit and that capitalism eats itself. Nurturing your human capital is literally just good business. And so because of economies of scale, if you have a worker that can make 1 pizza per hour, instead of adding another worker that can, so that you can make 2 pizzas an hour, if you take half of what you would pay the extra worker, give it to the one worker, and then they start making 2 pizzas per hour, you've saved money. But the greed is so egregious that they would rather, do you understand what I'm saying? They would rather not nurture their human capital. They literally are speed running toward, and this is, I'm not going to get on conservatives and libs, right? Because libs want to make homelessness and unhousedness nice to live in, and conservatives are like, oh, they just don't care. Live in a shoebox, I don't care. But the greed is so egregious that they don't even want to nurture their human capital. They are trying to see how much blood they can drain before they have to move on to another carcass. And that's, you know what I mean? So the thing that I'm saying is, to the workers, stop being satisfied. Stop being satiated. Last little bit. I know I'm running long. I know I'm running my yap. Okay. There is in a relationship with a partner, trigger warning, content warning. Trigger warning, content warning. Okay. They're in a relationship, and sometimes in relationships, there's this abusive tactic called breadcrumbing, where love is passed out, affection is passed out so sparsely that as soon as you get a tiny bit of affection, as soon as you get a tiny bit of love, you can sustain yourself for weeks on that one kiss, that one word of affirmation, right? In this way, the worker is suffering the same, because they will take any little bit of kudos. They will take an employee of the month with no benefits, no bonuses, no nothing, right? They still don't have health care. They still can't buy uniforms for their kids' sporting events, right? They still can't sustain themselves, but they will hang in there for the promise of gratitude, the promise of promotion. It's happened to me. People have dangled that carrot in front of my face, no pause. And I've stuck around on a sinking ship because of that breadcrumbing. What I'm saying to the workers is, stop being satisfied. Stop being pliable. Stop being palatable. Demand what you are due. And don't do it by yourself. Talk to others in the workplace, and as a group, demand what you are due.
Yep. I think that is absolutely necessary, and I'm glad that you teed us up to that. Get there. Really quick, W's in the chat for the Taffy bot, who sent out 5 YouTube membership subscriptions. W's in the chat. Thank you so much for that. Also, W's in the chat for Ellen for the $10 donation, saying, time for a general strike. I'm with it. W's in the chat. Guys, if anyone else likes Support the Live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you like what we do here on late nights, please consider donating. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's not forget about Solid. Guys, if you click that link in the poll in my bio, in Solid's bio, in Swan's bio, in Petty's bio, Solid is raising money for an amazing project where he is elevating the voices of Black troops that actually experience racism within the 216th Infantry Battalion, which it was a battalion that he was a part of, which is also a battalion that famously stormed Normandy. We are trying to get him to that total goal. He's looking to raise $25,000 total, but the GFM, if you check those links, you can get over there and you can donate directly to the GFM, and it will get us to where we need to go. And so far for this evening, let me get this up here. Let me update that. So far for this evening, we have raised a total of $2,735. $2,730. Is my math right? Did I math that right? I think, yeah, I did math that right. Holy smokes, $2,735. Now, again, I will tell you guys, one person came in and dropped that 2 bands. So let's keep working. We're putting a focus on this. We really, really, really want to drive this initiative. So please, please, please check the poll, check the pay links, check the bio. Go to the GFM. Let's get this thing going. Please, please, please do the things. Blue Barbie, I know you said you had one other thing that you wanted to add before I drop you down.
Yes. So what I wanted to bring up is that to the point of corporations not caring about human life. But I wanted to bring up another thing. I think that corporations don't just benefit from, I think that it is a level of sociopathy. I think that, I'm not sure if I'm using that word correct, but I think that, I believe that
So sorry. I don't want, with so much love, Blue Barbie, with so much love, I really want to avoid pathologizing people. There are folks out here who are living and coping with sociopathy.
Good call, Solid.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's so much love to you. I really
my
appreciate
apologies.
you. I just want to avoid that, okay? I don't want to do any harm.
Let me try that again.
For sure.
Let me try that again. I'm sorry. Okay. What I wanted to bring up is that corporations don't just benefit from the suffering of others; they thrive off of it because they know that they know that the desperation of human needs like food, water, insurance, healthcare, all of these things, they know that people are in desperate need of it, so they raise the prices. Sorry about that. They know that they don't have a choice. They know that they need to pay these high prices. So the rich and wealthy who are making tons of money off of the suffering, they're sitting on their yachts and in their expensive houses, practically laughing in the faces of practically they are laughing in the faces of suffering people as they raise the prices. And more people begin to lose more and more basic needs, while the rich and wealthy continue to get tax breaks. While they continue to raise the prices, the people who have less and less money are only going to continue to suffer because of selfish corporate greed.
Yep, absolutely. And I the thing that I'll call out is say that the way it's structured, I want to make sure people understand this. Capitalism is functioning the way that it should. Like, none of this is accidental. None of this is broken. Like, this is what's supposed to happen. Now, Solid did bring up a good point as far as now it's speed running, but this is how it's supposed to function. So keep that in mind. Anyway, Blue Barbie, thank you so much for coming up. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down, okay?
Thank you. And again, I apologize if maybe I didn't, maybe didn't say things as best. I really did try the best that I can. I feel very passionately about this topic.
You did a great job. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop you down. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great night.
You as well.
All right, bye.
Really quick, Debbie's in the chat for Linda for the $5 donation, said for Solid's Fun. Again, guys, I really appreciate when you guys donate and you're sending the money over. I'll get that $5 over, but please, please, please don't send the money to me. Go directly to the GFM. It's in all of our, it's in the poll. It's in my link tree. It's in Solid's link tree. It's in Swan's link tree. It's in Petty's. Please, please, please go over to the GFM. We're keeping track of it there. Don't send it to me. Send it directly to the GFM. Excuse me. Dang it. I'm just going to say it. GoFundMe. Whatever. Please, please, please go over. I know. All right. So we are, stop it. We are at the tail end of this, and I know there's a lot of people that wanted to get in on the conversation and were unable to do so tonight. I do want to say this is night 1 of 4 nights. Night 1 of 4 nights. So we will be talking about all of these things in depth, a lot more. So if you did not get opportunity to get in for tonight, no worries. We'll be back tomorrow night with this topic, and we're going to continue to flesh it out and do more. But this is where I want to kind of end it for this evening. And I want to start with Sean. And Sean, I think that we covered a lot as far as the U.S. treatment of the labor class in a couple of different aspects. I want to give you the floor, space and time. What do you want to add to the overall topic of the U.S. treatment of the labor class? And what topic are you looking forward to having as far as the conversation throughout the rest of the week that we haven't talked about yet?
I don't know what all you've talked about so far, but I am glad that you brought it back to me, because one of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to how the U.S. treats the labor class, I actually should say this. I'm just going to say imperial cores, how the imperial cores treat the labor class. There's two things that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up fear and how they utilize fear in order to keep people in line and to keep people scared of what it is that they could do to them. And one of the things that people obviously makes people hesitate. And I actually saw it in one of the chats where, and this is oftentimes, it's not just the person in the chat, I'm not just calling them out or whatever. People say this all the time where they go, oh, well, they have militaries and they have tanks and they have firearms that shoot projectiles that can split you in half and all of this other stuff. And I'm just like, sure. Okay, cool. So you're just scared. That's it. That's all that it is. Like, you're just afraid. Like, okay, so we're being tortured constantly, because that's what capitalism does. It creates a system of perpetual coercion and puts you through like these abusive tactics, doing things like literally saying, if you don't do the things the way that I want you to do, I'm going to put you in unlivable situations that you will not be able to bear for the rest of your life. That's literally just abuse. It's an abuse tactic in every which way. It's mental abuse, emotional abuse, and oftentimes it leads to things like physical abuse when we see how they treat their workers. Don't let workers use the restroom. Do not let workers sit down on the job. Don't let workers take long enough breaks. And there's a multitude of things, but not paying out workers. There's a multitude of things. But the fear that people tend to have, I try and push this fear out of people through the propaganda that I like to push, because there are things, and I think most people would agree that there are things worse than death. There are things that are just worse than being unalive. There are things that are just worse than, going away forever. And those things are conditions that we are constantly living under. And just because you are alive and you figured out a way to cope with it or tolerate it does not mean that you're not currently being tortured. There's many things that the mind can do in order for a person to not feel tortured. There's chemicals that your brain will release if you're undergoing physical torture that will make you think things like you're not being tortured. There was this book written by, y'all know who Iceberg Slim is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a book written by Iceberg Slim. If you read his book, he said that he would implement tactics like this, where if one of his women of the night, I'll just say that and keep it TikTok friendly, one of his women of the night didn't want to go out and work, he would beat them like they stole something from him. He would beat them up and down the street. He beat them so bad he had to take a 15-minute mandatory break.
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning, content warning. But immediately after he would do that, this is what he wrote in his book, immediately after he would do that, he would draw them a bath, like a bubble bath. He would get them food. He would get them the things that they wanted. And they would be so relieved from just like that relief of being beat that they would forget that he even beat them in the first place. And they have this fear of him in their mind that oftentimes they don't even remember what happened. Like if someone came and been like, well, why are you so afraid of him? It's like, oh, well, you know, he's just so scary. They don't even remember that he did that. These are the types of things that employees implement on employers. When you go to work and you ask someone, well, what's the issue with your boss, or what's the issue with this, or what's the issue with that? They will describe things to you, but they won't be describing exactly what the abuse actually is, because of these things like pizza parties, and because of these small reliefs like employee of the month or whatever. And they even make you, to some extent, make you believe that it's your fault that this is happening to you. It is your fault that you need to be laid off. It is your fault that you need to be fired. It is your fault that we are picking on you, that we are looking at you, that we are investigating you, or whatever else it is. And so it just makes it feels like you know, you can't do anything right, and it's your fault. You're the problem. You're the drama. It couldn't possibly be them. They are the right ones in this situation because they have the power, and because you fear being unhoused, because you fear starving to death, because you fear not being able to feed your kids, because you fear whatever it is that you fear, not having a car anymore because you can't afford the payments. That is what they're holding over. Not having insurance. A lot of jobs, the fact that your boss can take away your insurance, insane. That is nothing but an abuse tactic. But anyway, the fear that I'm trying to get people to get over, because we're already in these living situations, these circumstances in which we are constantly being abused mentally, emotionally, often physically. And even if you really look at a lot of different jobs and the things that women go through in the workplace, sexually, sexual abuse is happening rapidly on the job. And if we do nothing about it, if we don't organize, if we don't say anything, if we don't do really armed revolution and take away the power that the owning class has over capital, it's just going to continue to happen. And that fear is something that I really want to talk about. The second thing that I wanted to talk about, and this one will be a lot quicker because the first one was the big thing, neocolonialism, and how I think we need to redefine, not necessarily redefine, but extend the definition of neocolonialism. I believe that there are people within fascist nations that are in those fascist nations that are nothing but subjugated by those fascist nations who are being who are being and have been neocolonized. But because certain things, because they say certain things aren't as bad as they were before, we don't even see it. In particular, Black Americans. I'm a Kata, it says here, a Kata Marxist. Both of my family's lineages trace back to slavery, both on my mother's side and my father's side. We have been, neocolonialism was a term coined by Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana in the 1960s. And basically it is utilizing soft power measures rather than hard power measures in order to control economics of an area and in order to control the people of that area and certain demographics of that area. I don't see anything different in Black neighborhoods in the United States. The average American dollar in the Black neighborhood in the United States, even if you're talking about from a capitalistic standpoint, stays in the Black neighborhood for 20 minutes for no other reason than they will not allow Black people to put up as many Black businesses in Black neighborhoods to keep dollars within the neighborhoods. The segregation that happened, the redlining that happened, the constant targeting of children in the Black neighborhoods from things like school to prison pipelines. I can go on forever, but I don't see any difference in neocolonialism and the controlling of economic factors and political factors to the point where today we have people, Black people in particular, talking about voting for candidates today where we have Black people talking about voting for candidates who have no plan to help Black communities in any way, shape, or form, even within a capitalistic standpoint. This is that brainwashing that they have done and that fear mongering that they have done, where if you step out of line, we will just unalive you. And so they're utilizing a militant force within the police, but also a soft power force within political candidates by doing things like gerrymandering and distracting Black people with things like gerrymandering to say like, oh, you better fight for your right to vote, even though we're not going to do anything for you, even if we do get in office. And that was it. I'm sorry. That was long-winded.
No worries. I really appreciate everything that you've added, and even more so, every time I hear you speak, it's inspiring in the sense that I think that there's a lot that people need to hear, and there's a lot that we need to do. And I think your voice elevates the message, and it cuts right to the heart of like how we get there. So, Sean, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right, have a good one. Noah, coming to you. What? Any closing thoughts that you have, and what are you looking forward to actually talking about this week that we haven't talked about yet?
I think Solid kind of touched on this a little bit when he was describing like concessions that are given from the capitalist class. But I would love to see like a debunking of sort of like liberal reformist proposals and solutions to the crisis of labor exploitation and the suffering of the labor class. Like, this is a project that I've been very invested in on this app, which is trying to like disarticulate the logics of liberalism. And I'm using that kind of expansively, but as it pertains to the social phenomena that we're like, discussing, because I think there's a tendency to kind of individualize things and to propose reforms that don't actually like attend to the systems that are producing these like issues. So it's like, I want to shift away from things like financial literacy as like a viable pathway to labor power or to like alleviating poverty. There's a great book, actually I'll plug, and that'll be it. That's it's by Dr. Jared Ball. It's called The Myth of Black Buying Power. Fantastic book. But yeah, I think people, they can name systems, and I hear this a lot, like including from liberals, they'll be able to name things that are systemic, but then the solutions are so detached from the systems themselves. I think if you are serious about attaining labor power, you need to be about abolishing capitalism. You need to understand that like poverty is paradigmatic. It's not an individual moral failing or anything like that. So I think that would be helpful. But yeah, I appreciate you having me up here.
All right. No. I appreciate you. And thank you for, what's the name of the book again?
It's called The Myth of Black Buying Power.
The Myth of Black Buying Power. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to check that out. Noah, I appreciate you coming up.
Slim said paradigmatic.
Mm-hmm. That boy, no words. Really quick, Solomon, I'm not coming to you yet, but I do want a quick question. Are you on your phone right now?
I am.
If I send you a text, do you have a second device that you could do. Listen to something?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. In a minute, I'm gonna send you something, but I need you to be on mute and listen to it. Okay. Anyway, Ari, I'm sorry, not Ari. Swan, coming to you. Closing thoughts on the overall topic, and what are you looking forward to talking about this week?
This is actually a really good topic. It's definitely something that I think I myself personally need to do a deeper dive into and understanding more how these things work and how they impact people. But like geopolitically, so not just like within the United States, but like for example, my good sis Covey put out a podcast and talked for 2 hours and 45 minutes about the complexities of what is happening in Sudan, which is the worst humanitarian crisis on record right now. And I listened and I learned so much, and I realized that there's so much more that I need to understand about different things that have taken place historically, and how, you have a paramilitary organization that's being funded by a country, and then you have, other countries that are funding, their country. There's a lot that's happening. But then also the ways in which narratives have been perpetuated and pushed out to mask what is actually happening to people and how we've become desensitized to it. How our media is not necessarily always going to report on it, or if they do report on it, it's going to be accurate. So I think that that's something I'm looking for, just helping me to grasp more into that, I guess. From the background?
Well, more. So like it doesn't specifically have to be spelled out on the background. Just anything within this topic that's encompassing that you're looking forward to talking about.
More so that, yeah. Also, but no, when Sean spoke about like expanding our understanding of neocolonialism and understanding what happens to those that are marginalized here within the United States, that was like a light bulb go off, like new level unlocked. So that definitely has my wheels turning as well.
Okay.
And I appreciated that big one, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Swan, I appreciate you so much for coming up.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ari, you've been hanging out with us this whole time, and you haven't gotten the floor much, but what do you want to talk about? What do you got? What do you want to add? Anything that was missed, and what are you looking forward to talking about this week that you haven't had an opportunity to speak on?
One is, I think it's always going to be important to talk about because they're going to pop up somewhere. I know they're here somewhere. I know they're listening. The class reductionists. Yeah, the ones that think capitalism is the only issue. Yet I'm out for y'all niggas. I'm on it. But two, especially you guys, institutions of disparities, of course, patriarchy and sexism, right? That's really big for me. Especially when we're talking about labor, that a lot of people do not talk enough about reproductive labor. They do not see that people with uterus that have the ability to give birth as a form of labor and how that can be exploited through things like how we currently see abortion bans and things like that. And taking those means to be able to make decisions around their own labor is a form of also exploitation, right? This is not discussed enough, and I think that really needs to be highlighted in the conversation of labor.
I agree. I could not agree more. Not agree more. Oh, say it again.
I said, and thank you for having me. Sorry.
Absolutely, no worries. Thank you so much for coming up, Ari. I really, really appreciate you. All right, Solid. You good?
Yes, I am solid.
Okay, so hey, Solid, I'm going to send you something, all right? And I'm going to put you on the big screen. But what I want you to do is mute yourself, right, the entire time. And when you finish, come back. But I'm going to put you on the big screen as you stay on camera. Just mute yourself and give it a listen. And I'm going to put you here. And I'm just going to talk for a few minutes. All good. You can go ahead and listen whenever you're ready. You're muted. Guys, I do want to actually call to the attention. So far, we have done a lot. We've done absolutely a lot with the GoFundMe as far as what we've been able to raise so far. And as of right now, we have raised a total of $2,770. $2,770. And for anyone who is trying to actually add to the GFM, please check it out. It's in Solid's pay links. In the link tree in Solid's bio, in the link tree in my bio, link tree in Swan's bio, link tree in Petty's bio. Please, what he is doing is something that we absolutely want to make sure that we are driving. This is a huge initiative. Solid is doing everything possible to uplift the Black voices of the 2nd 16th Infantry Battalion, a group of people that experience massive levels of racism, even though they are absolutely heroes. It's a part of the infantry that he was a part of, and it's a part of the infantry that actually stormed Normandy, which is a huge thing. So With that being said, that's going to be the focus that we have for the rest of this week. And while, like I said, I appreciate people who are sending donations to me, and, you know, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and links are in the bio if you want to support the live. If you like what we do here on late nights, you can definitely donate, and that'll keep things going. But please, please, please make sure we are going directly to the GoFundMe to actually donate. Also, W's in the chat for Willis for the $5 super chat to say, we are currently seeing a wealth gap similar to pre-French Revolution. If we aren't getting close to revolution, we're in trouble. That is a huge point. That is a huge point. W's in the chat for Willis for the $5 super chat and bringing that out. One thing that I do want to make sure that I actually say, because I would be remiss if I did not mention this, the fact that so many people are seeing this, and Solid brought it up, it's not just the people that consider themselves to be communists, but just the everyday person is starting to see and feel this. And so the everyday person is seeing and feeling this. That means change has to happen. We are at a position where there is no other option, but there is change on the horizon now. We have to determine how we go about that change. And that's what we're doing here this week. We're talking about the things that are disenfranchising everyone, the systems, the structures that people don't understand, the actual issues that we have. And we're not only going to be dealing with understanding those things, but we're going to be dealing with how do we, as a group of people, create class solidarity in order to actually move us forward. That is something that is absolutely necessary, and we will be figuring that out and doing that together. I think Solid may be done. Solid, you good?
When are you rolling this out? Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah.
All right.
Solid. So I cover with the people just a little tidbit about everything that we're doing. I want to give you the final word. Can you tell the people what should they be expecting for the rest of the week? And I guess what's the most exciting thing that you want to dive into this week?
Yeah. So here's the deal. There are just so many things that we don't think of as having a purpose or having a function. Ari brought up reproductive labor, right? The push to pull reproductive rights away from birth givers. The push to, for the gender pay gap, right? The push to relegate women back into second-class citizen.
Yep.
Whether it be this hearkening back to the 1950s or the Alpha Bro, the Red Pill movement, whatever, right? I don't think we often think about what that means or what that does for society. And I don't mean that in a positive way, like, oh, that's really important. It really does something for society. I mean that in a, how does this machine work type of way, right? It all boils down to the exploitation of labor. Any system you could think of that ranks people, that stratifies people. There's a sociologist named Loic Wacquant, right? I refuse to say his name correctly because I don't like French as a language, okay? But he believes there are 4 peculiar institutions: slavery, segregation, the ghetto, and the industrial prison complex. These institutions, these peculiar institutions, are there specifically to maintain ethno-racial dominance, right? And to secure labor, to secure free and cheap labor. Petty knows how much I hate umlauts, and she put them in the chat anyway.
I love umlauts.
Umlauts. Why are we umlauting? You know, so listen, at the
It's
founding of the
Deutsch.
country, the people, huh?
It's Deutsch.
Is Deutsch. I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch.
In the spec of the Deutsch.
I do love a good waffle.
Yeah.
At the founding of the country, there was power consolidated into the hands of men who fit a certain social location. They were cisgendered, they were heterosexual, they were Christian, they were white, they were men, right? Since then, the organization of society has always been there to benefit that social location, to ensure that the people who are in power stay in power. And it may not extend all the time to every single member of that social location, every single member of that in group, but because the majority of power. Who's that? Is that you or me?
That was my Nokia. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's your. Okay. I'm about to wrap up. Oh, also, can I talk about the project a little bit?
Yeah. I talked about it while you were doing whatever. I don't know what you were doing when you were on mute, but I talked about it while you were on mute. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the power has been in the hands of those people, and the reason why they have made such huge pushes to organize society in a way where they are the main, where they're able to maintain power into that social location, is because they don't want to get wrapped up in the groups that are stripped of power. That is why, right? There's not we talk about white supremacy. That's not a real. White people aren't actually superior. It's the idea of maintaining superiority in the white racial group, consolidating superiority in the male group, in the man group, in order to keep the power in the hands of the people who already have it. Okay, and so the entire reason why I want to talk about this is because when it comes to fixing the problems in the US, the approach should be holistic. People rail all the time against PC culture and woke culture. Some may say cultural Bolshevism, some may say cultural Marxism, right? But it's the idea that it's not, the economy is not some separate place, right? It's not that it's not that the economy operates solely on its own. There is an interplay between society and the economy. And I just want us to start thinking about, it is in our language. Freedom does happen in our language. Freedom does happen in our consideration for people with that are disabled. It does happen in our consideration for people who are in marginalized groups. There is a cultural aspect. If you can popularize, if you can make freedom cool, that's how MAGA learned how to do what they did, man. They learned to fearmonger, they learned to demagogue, and they learned to make MAGA feel like they're winners.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they tricked people into becoming straight up fascists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna lay that down there, and then if I can go to the project, I just want to communicate a few things. Okay, if that's all right.
Oh, floor's yours. I'm just sitting back letting you rock.
Sure. Chud the Builder. Let me hold on. Let me, before I make any wild claims here. Chud the Builder, go fund.
While Solid does that, I will let everyone know that I'm going to be live tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific for some debates. We will be doing sparring with Santana. I have a special Memorial Day edition of Sparring with Santana that's happening tomorrow morning. So please, if you are available, make sure that you're there, and you might want to make sure that you're there early. Be there for the start of the live. I'll just say that. Anyway, Solid, you good?
Yeah, for shiggity. Chud the Builder, if you're not familiar with him, is a man who made an online notoriety, who was popularized among young white supremacists by going out and terrorizing and harassing Black people, by calling them the hard R, daring them to trying to lure them into physical altercations with the expressed hope of unaliving them and being able to get away with it. In his mind, he was trying to create an environment, create a country where it is okay again to take the life of Black people, where white people get away once more with taking Black people's lives with impunity. He wants a world where Emmett Till happens again. He wants a world where Black Wall Street happens, where Rosewood happens again, right? Let's say he wants a world where where white men are so deeply entrenched in power that they could get away with tossing your life to the side. He is literally trying to prove that Black lives do not matter. I was 20 years old when I deployed to Baghdad with the United States Army. This is extremely stressful for me because I never wanted to be on the line. On the line means being on the front line. It means it means getting pew-pewed at, getting blown up. Okay? That's why I went medical, because I never wanted to do it. But I was in the Army Reserves. My child had turned 6 months old, and I needed to support them. And so I went into the active duty Army. I ended up deploying. I am terrified. I was terrified. And I was assigned after 3 months in country to the Scout Sniper Platoon, where I was tasked to go make a home in their barracks. I set up my bunk. I dropped off my bags. I set up, I hung up all my uniforms. I made a little space for my body armor. Everything is where it needs to be. And the only thing left for me to do is go get my weapons issue. I go to the armory and they give me my M4, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I come back and I'm like, well, I guess this is it now. I'm actually the guy now. I'm actually doing the combat medic thing. I'm actually in war now. And I come back, and over my bunk, out of the ceiling tiles, there is 550 cord hanging down. 550 cord is this very thin but very strong green cord. And someone has tied a knot in it. And upon further investigation, I look closely at the knot, and I see that the knot tied is a noose knot. To put it shortly, someone hung a noose over my bunk to send a message to me that not only do they realize that I'm Black, but these are the things, these are the opinions that they have about Black people. This is a message to me that in a country where I am going to be facing combat, assault, people are going to be pew-pewing at me, trying to blunt me up, that I better not step out of line, that I better stay in my place and be a good boy, or that's what I might have to deal with. What happens when Chud the Builder isn't just an internet meme? What happens when Chud the Builder, what happens when Chud the Builder isn't just doing it for clout, but is a real person that has these real feelings? And what happens when you are in the most vulnerable position you can possibly be in and you encounter these types of people? Mind you, I'm their combat medic. They depend on me. If they get hurt, I'm the one that's got to patch them up. That's how they treat the man who may save their life. At 20 years old, I'm expected to deal with this in a way that is extra human, that is superhuman, because anybody in their right mind with any knowledge or context, with any consciousness, knows that this is a threat, and at the very least, the punchline is that my people were tortured. Y'all, people support racism so much. $375,000 in Chud the Builder's GoFundMe right now. $375 in his Gives and Go. It's $375,000, y'all. More than $250,000. More than $333,000 in Chud the Builder's Gives and Go right now. People believe so fervently in the subjugation, the harm, the torture, the abuse of non-white people that they have no problem giving their money away. When you donate to telling stories like the one I just told you, what you are saying is that you will not stand for silence. You are the anti-Chud the Builder and Chud the Builder fan. When you donate, you are saying that the voices, we're not going to be pushed into the closet. We're not going to be swept under the rug. We're not going to be ignored. Our voices matter. They matter. I'm saying this to tell you that I recognize how important, even if you don't recognize, I recognize how important your donations are. What it means for you to have sent your $5, your $1, your $10, your $20. What it means for you to have sent your donos in. I recognize, I see that. And I appreciate that. You give me hope. You give me not resolution, but reconciliation. What's the word I'm looking for? Validation with these donos. Gotta get the names off the screen. I see. Yeah. That's all I got to say about it, Santana. I really appreciate you for the opportunity, man. I really do. This is much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, solid. And when I told you, when I heard this, and it's funny, the story that you told, it's one that I heard, and it's the same reaction that most people heard while listening is the same reaction that I heard as well. And then it actually pushed me to the thoughts of, not only because I know you and what you're trying to do and all this other stuff, but I think it's important. I think it's necessary, and I think it's something that we have to do as a community, right? I know that it's a daunting task for you, right? To be able to say, like, I'm going to actually do this, right? That's a large lift on its own. But then there's another large lift when it's going to cost $25,000 to actually be able to do this. That's a massive lift on its own. And I remember flipping over to your GoFundMe, and it was like $800. And I was like, what the F is this? 800? I was so pissed off about that. That's when I was like, no, we got to do something about this. So, like, I'm really happy. Not like I say this all the time, and I truly mean this. When people trust us, our community, to drive these different initiatives, whether it's mutual aid, whether it's a direct call to action, whatever. Like, I feel so blessed and honored to be able to do something where people are trusting us in our community to help them in their time of need, or to do something great together as a community. And so I appreciate you, Solid, for allowing us to share in this journey that you're taking. And we're going to push this thing to the moon. So I'm happy. I'm happy that we're part of this with you.
Same.
All right. You want to do this? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to do this again tomorrow?
One person. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
We'll do it again tomorrow then.
To the one person that was in the comments saying like, oh, it's not everybody. And I'm saying this with every bone in my body, with every osteoplast, okay, osteocyte. Okay. Stop trying to make yourself feel better and just do the work. All power to all the people except for Ralph. Do something good for your neighbor. Ubuntu, viva la raza. Throw more bricks.
Thanks, more bricks. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. We're going to call it for the night. I appreciate the HE double hockey sticks out of everyone who came out and hang out with us tonight. Special request, because we didn't do this. Can we knock out the Let 'em Cooks? We only got 26 more of those. Can we knock those out before we close things out? Guys, like Solid and I said, we will be back tomorrow. For sure, we will be back tomorrow. This was night 1 of a 4-night Late Nights with Santana panel discussion. So if you did not get an opportunity to join the conversation tonight, guess what? There's more opportunities coming. So please make sure you're here. You're ready to add to the conversation. I'm so excited about what we're doing this week. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, like I said, tomorrow morning I will be on 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, sparring with Santana. We will get into some debates and be there for the start of the live. I'll just say that. Be there for the start of the live. I promise you're not going to want to miss it. Anywho, we're going to get out of here. Let's do the thing.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late Nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late Nights Truth in the Convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams and the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late Nights with Santana. Kid, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this the purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight. We here to connect the dots. Yeah.
Hey, W's in the chat for the chat. Sorry, I just saw something. Who's causing trouble? You keep people up too long. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and block you because already management already got it. I saw management talking to somebody. I almost forgot where I was for a second. My bad. Management got it. I almost lost it for a second. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow for more Late Nights with Santana. This was an amazing start to the actual topic. It's going to be a great week. If you didn't get an opportunity to join, come back. We'll make sure that everyone gets an opportunity. I'm going to try to get as many people in as quickly as possible. I want everybody to join the topic, but thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for all the gifts, the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you all for hanging out this evening. Thank you all for supporting Solid and his GoFundMe. We will do this together. Thank you guys. I love you all. And as always, peace.